and welcome to Flock Around the Block. My name is Brenda.
And my name is Madison.
And we are part of the education staff here at the Warren Museum of Wildfowl Art.
Today, we want to introduce you all to the world of birding, or bird watching. As we learn about bird identification in this video, be sure to have a piece of paper and pencil to write down your observations.
Many birds can be seen here at the museum and on Schumaker Pond, as well as throughout Salisbury. But how many different birds do you think we can find? How do we even tell different birds apart?
Identifying bird species can be a real challenge, especially when we can't see them up close. So we will be using 3 types of clues to identify our birds: size, field markings, and behavior.
Body size can be hard to see when we're out birding, but if we focus on the body proportions or the relative size of different body parts, we can learn more about our mystery bird. For example, does the bird have a long or a short tail? Is the bird's beak long and pointy, or short and thick, or wide and flat? Does the bird have long legs or a long neck? When we compare these 2 duck decoys, what differences do you observe about the bird's body proportions? Our 2 ducks definitely have some similar colors, and our mallard here is slightly larger than this northern shoveler. But if we look more closely, there is one feature that really helps to tell these 2 apart. The shoveler has a much larger beak, shaped kind of like a shovel, which is how this bird gets its name.
Field markings are unique markings that make the bird stand out. There are many different kinds of field markings: stripes, eye rings, bright patches of color, plumes, or crusts on the bird's head, and many more. Looking at these 2 birds, what field markings do you observe that help us tell them apart? Both of these songbirds can be seen year-round here in Salisbury, and they are sometimes called LBBs, or little brown birds, by birders who don't get a close look to identify them. But we can see that this Carolina wren has a white eyebrow and a skinny, slightly curved beak, and it has a striped tail that points almost straight up. By contrast, our white-throated sparrow has black and white stripes across its head, with a small patch of yellow above its eye and a short and thick beak, and of course a white throat.
Finally, there's behavior. Sometimes we just can't make out the color or shape of a bird, but the way it acts can tell us more about what it is. Is it a single bird or in a flock? Is it swimming? If it's flying, does it flap its wings constantly, or does it soar high in the sky? Is it perched in tree branches, on a tree trunk, or on the ground? As you watch the following footage, take some notes. What do you observe about this bird's behavior? Our great blue heron here might not look like they're doing much, but don't forget, this is still a form of behavior. By remaining very still as they stand in the water, this bird is able to sneak up on fish, frogs, and other prey that live in the water. When great blue herons do move, it's usually a slow movement or a small movement with only part of their body. On the other hand, if we ever get to see a great blue heron fly, they flap their wings more slowly with their neck tucked in and their long legs stretched out behind them.
Now, let's combine these 3 types of clues and see what we can observe about the following bird. As the footage plays, write down your observation about the bird's size, field markings, and behavior. At the end of this clip, we'll go over what you observed and see if you can match the mystery bird to the correct identification. Good luck!
All right, let's see if we can identify our mystery bird on Schumaker Pond. The first, most obvious thing we can observe about this bird is its behavior. This bird is swimming in water, which really narrows down our choices. In fact, not only is it swimming on the surface, it is diving underwater as well. This is an even more unique behavior found only in a handful of water birds around Salisbury. While we're talking about behavior, we can also see that this bird is sometimes preening itself, and it may hang out by itself or in a small group. The next type of clue that might be more noticeable is this bird's field markings. The bird's plumage is not very eye-catching, mostly brown and gray and white, but it looks somewhat glossy. It also has a brighter white patch on its rump, but if we look more closely, we can see 2 unique field markings on this bird's head, a white ring around its eye and a black spot on its white beak. Now, let's look at the body size and proportions. Our bird has a fairly long neck with a round body and a very short tail. Its beak is thick and pointy, not like a duck beak. And when the mallard swims behind this bird, we can see that it is smaller than a mallard. And finally, when we get to see our bird stretch its legs, we can see that its toes are lobed, not fully webbed like a duck's foot. When we put all of these clues together, we can see that our mystery bird is the pied-billed grebe. Nice work!
Thanks for joining us on this introduction to birding.
We hope you found this lesson helpful as we get to know our feathered friends. But, of course, nothing is more helpful than getting first-hand experience.
With that in mind, we want to invite you all to join the Ward Museum for our in-person Flock Around the Block series, which will include birding and activities about birds at 4 different parks throughout Salisbury every other Wednesday and Saturday.
Each month will feature a new theme with a new bird of the month, and we'll give you a chance to contribute to an official bird count. To learn more about how you can participate, click on the link in the description below.
Thanks again for watching, and we look forward to birding with you soon.